On this week's episode, we talked about matchmaking. We also talked about surrogate partner therapy and Italian boyfriends. Welcome to the Ask a Matchmaker podcast. This is a hotline episode. And before we introduce our special guest for this week's episode, we have a few housekeeping items. Today is December 26th. So if you celebrated Christmas yesterday, I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. And if on Christmas you were guilted or made feel bad for being single, fuck those people. They don't know you. It's fun to be single. You get the privilege of being single. However, if you want to maybe have a different kind of Christmas next year where you're cozying up to someone special, give us a call. Let's see how we can work with you. Maybe we can refer you to someone else who can work with you in your region. But it all starts with a phone call, and I'm going to include that in the show notes. Now, if you did not celebrate Christmas and you had an incredible meal at your local Chinese spot, I hope that rice dish was good, and I hope you had a wonderful poop this morning. Other housekeeping items, you will see in the show notes all the links to join Agape Escapes, our retreat next year in Greece, and of course, joining our database at agapematch.com. Now to introduce our incredible guest, we have matchmaker Michal Neistetter. Did I do that right?
Yes, you did.
You know what? I want to see you do my last name.
Avgitidis. Did I mess it up?
No, you did great. You did great. You did great. I was just eating crow. Michal, welcome to the Ask a Matchmaker podcast. I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks for having me.
And when you sat down before we started recording, I was thinking about have I had other matchmakers on this podcast? Because I've had Louie, but Louie works with me. Mm-hmm. And I've had Erica, and she's actually coming up in a future episode, which is very exciting.
Love her.
But I don't think we've had other matchmakers because... And I do want to have a few other matchmakers on the couch, but I'm really happy you're here.
Thanks for having me. I feel honored.
Let's talk a little bit about matchmaking, but then we're going to talk a little bit more about the other specialties that you have, and then we'll answer people's dating questions.
Yeah, we have much to discuss.
Yeah, we have much to discuss. But first off, you're a matchmaker, but you got your bachelor's degree in Jewish studies and your master's degree in sexuality?
Yes.
Okay. But how did you get into matchmaking?
Everybody wants to know how you get into matchmaking. I never really matched before I got this job. I was searching for a way to work from home because I was jealous of my husband, who's a software engineer. Mm-hmm. And I was searching on a website called Angel List and just trying to get out of my 9-to-5. And then one night my friend came over who's a sex therapist and we studied together. And she went click, click. And then all of a sudden this appeared and she was like, that's you. That's what you should do.
Wow.
And then I applied.
And now you're here.
And now I'm here.
I love that.
Yeah.
What do you think a matchmaker, I want to hear from, because I feel like a lot of my listeners hear from me what a matchmaker does, but I want to hear from your words. What does a good matchmaker do?
I almost want to start with what a good matchmaker doesn't do.
Okay, start with that.
A good matchmaker doesn't make promises that they can't keep.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Yeah, I would never say to someone I know the person, I got it, even before they hire me. I don't ever allude to the fact that I'm the shortcut.
Right.
You know? Mm-hmm. Because I think it's a partnership. A matchmaker doesn't avoid the tough subjects. A good matchmaker is going to tell you they see it and give you feedback from the dates. Do you have any? I'm kind of thinking off the cuff right now of what a good matchmaker doesn't do.
A good matchmaker, what she doesn't do. I think a good matchmaker, it's fun. I immediately think in do.
Yeah, okay, we could do do. We could do do.
I think a good matchmaker knows which clients they can work with.
Absolutely.
And the ones that they can't work with, it's not all matchmaking businesses are built like this. And that's okay. But if you can help them in some way, maybe matchmaking is not necessarily their solution. Maybe matchmaking was what maybe brought them into your office and into your space. But maybe there's a different way to help them. And that could be coaching. That could be retreat. At Agape Match, we have coaching. We have retreats. We have other programs for women if we can't take them as clients. Or if we can't refer them to a matchmaker that we trust. So, I always think about, even if a guy comes in, I'm like, I don't think we can work with you, but maybe another matchmaker can. Maybe she's equipped for your personality, for that emotional bandwidth, or the search that you have may be very specific to what we can handle.
Yes.
So I always think about who the right, I think this is what I spend most of my day thinking about is who's the right client And that shifts, right? Like depending on what's happening. Like the kind of client that I took on maybe 2 years ago is maybe different than the client that I could probably take on now.
So true. Because you're evolving. So I think a good matchmaker knows who's a good match for them. So I say to people, like, the first match is us.
Oh, yeah. We say that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
the first match has to be with your matchmaker. And it's not personal. I feel.
It is personal.
Is it personal?
It's very personal. And a good matchmaker also knows that matchmaking isn't for anyone. But if matchmaking is a good fit for them and it isn't, you know, if we're not the right match, they'll make a referral to someone else. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think sometimes, like, I think it is personal, but when I say like it's not personal, it's like if I can't work with you, it's not because I hate you. Very rare is that the feeling. It's just because I'm like, you're going to spend a lot of money on this. And even if you don't get into a relationship through my services, I still want this to be a really positive dating experience for you. Do you ever ask your clients what would make, like, how they measure success in working with a matchmaker, or do they assume it's like being in a relationship?
Yeah, like everybody always comes to me thinking it's about being in a relationship, and then I watch how in their work with me, the definition of what success is evolves. And for me, it's like, I want you to walk out the door different than when you walked in.
Yeah.
So they might be in a place where they're hurt or feeling sad and dating is frustrating and dating is annoying or whatever it may be. And I want them to feel this like shift in how they approach dating and how they talk to themselves.
What do you think makes you different than like the other matchmakers in your region?
Because
you work predominantly out of Philly.
Yeah.
And you also, do you have like any niches that you want to promote?
I mean, one is that, like, I'm a super connector, and so I love gathering people. So whether it's, like, really small events or really big events, I love the art of gathering. I'm reading that book, by the way.
Every time Michal calls me, it's almost always to invite me to an event that I'm like, I don't have the room in my calendar to go to, but this sounds like a lot of fun.
You're invited.
But I'm always invited. So, like, if I ever have, like, a free Sunday, I just have to call her. I just ring up Philly.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, I'm coming down to Philly. I will in 2024. One of my New Year's resolutions is to come to something that Michal is hosting in Philadelphia. And I have. I already put in my calendar, your birthday.
You'll be there?
I'll be there.
It's going to be so fun.
I put it on the family calendar, so my husband's coming down too. I don't know if he's invited, but I've invited.
You were like, invite me to something good. Invite me to a Russian restaurant. And I was like, that's about what I was about to say that to you. That's what you're invited to.
Okay, my biggest pet peeve is when non-Greeks are like, Maria, let's go to this Greek restaurant here. And I'm like, I am not going to pay money to go to a Greek restaurant when whatever I'm going to eat, I probably made on Tuesday.
True.
And I want to go to like other cuisine restaurants. I will go with Greek people to a Greek restaurant though. Because it's like, oh, it'll be like our local spot. I know we know what to order.
You're like, stop tokenizing me as your Greek friend.
Well, no, because you know what it is? Like, if I go with another Greek person to a Greek restaurant, I don't have to like give them a lesson in gastronomy.
But could I go to Greece with you?
You can absolutely come to Greece with me.
I would do that.
Okay. So what do you think makes you different than other matchmakers in your region?
Yeah, so I'm not afraid of taboo. So I will talk to my clients about money, about sexuality, about interfaith things. Like, I just don't shy away from those subjects.
Right.
So I let them know up front, like,
is that what you say? If
discuss.
They ask you like what makes you different than like this competitor, is this like your answer usually?
I don't know. I came up with it on the spot. But what else makes me different? I mean, I know people. I'm the daughter of a therapist. My mom just talks like really deep wisdom all day. That's what I grew up with, and I feel like I really see people.
I love that.
Like, I really get to know them very, very deeply. Like, when people come to me for a meeting, they want to like start off with like the list of what they're looking for, and I'm like, no. I want to know you. I want to hear about your parents. I want to hear about what type of relationship was modeled to you. Like, how did you used to define love? Tell me about
about your divorce. That's what
Tell me about your divorce. Tell me, like, let's walk down relationship memory lane. Like, I want to get deep like that. I'm not here to talk about like your career.
Right.
I mean,
when the career question comes up, we'll go over it. But I agree with you. Like, I am always interested. I don't ask what someone's looking for until I think like maybe 30 minutes into a conversation.
Yeah.
Right?
But they want to start there.
They do want to start there. And I'm like, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. But you know what? My favorite questions are always asking them, like, if they have siblings. I'm like, so what's that like? You could learn a lot about people when they start talking about their sibling. Because I wouldn't say it like that. I'll just say like, so is there a sibling group chat? And you'll get a few answers here. You'll say, sometimes they'll be like, absolutely, there's a sibling group chat. We talk every day. Or they're my roommate, or they'll express the closeness.
Yeah.
And or you'll hear stuff like, I don't really really talk to my siblings. Oh,
Yeah.
why not? And then you'll hear more about their parents. You'll hear more about their sibling. You hear like about them, like how they see themselves in that. Because I think it's what you're alluding to when you talk about like, tell me about you. It's kind of like, I need to know the environment you grew up in, because that is the prototype of you learning how to be in a relationship.
That's right. Although I will say that like I am careful to not judge them based on the family of origin, because if there is some level of estrangement in their family, I want to understand that. But
oh yeah, there's no judgment in understanding. Yeah.
But like it's really interesting when I hear someone who comes from a good family and they're like, well, I want someone who has a good relationship with their family. And I'm like,
Oh,
interesting.
I always say like, why?
Tell me more about that.
Tell me more about that. Because that doesn't
Don't you want to hang out with your family if you have a cool family?
Exactly. Like when I've heard some guy say like, if she didn't grow up I've heard clients say, if she didn't grow up in a 2-parent household, I won't be interested. And I'm like, well, what if her parents hated each other and they're just together for the kids? Is that cool with you? Or, some people are not blessed with like happy families, so they create chosen families.
That's
and
right.
I think
Yes,
chosen
I love
family
that.
is just like so much more important.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you see it? Like, do you think chosen families, like, do you ask about chosen family? I ask about chosen family.
I ask a lot about, chosen family of origin. And then I also want to look at what connections they've made in the last year. Like, who are they inviting in their life? Are they only friends with the friends from college and everybody's gone off to have a baby and they're stuck in that rut? I'm like, but are you making new friends? Because when you're looking for a relationship and you're out there dating, you should also be making new friends, don't you think?
It's really hard to make new friends.
You have a whole episode about that, don't you?
I do. I have a whole retreat system in Greece. Like that's what it's for, is to help people make friends, because it's really hard to make friends.
In our culture. No?
In your culture?
In the US.
Oh, in the US. Yeah, in the US. Holy crap. It is. You know what I realized a few weeks ago, and I think I'm going to probably write this in my book, is that like there are not a lot of rituals that straight white men can participate in like a weekly or monthly basis. So hear me out for a second, okay?
Okay.
First of all, why do I say ritual? Why is that important? Because rituals is what creates like the space and the environment for you to cultivate relationships, friendships, having those interactions, right? Black men, Latin men, Greek men, Jewish men, subculture men, they might have an environment that they're invited to, like, a quinceañera, or like, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I'm sorry if I butchered it. Quinceañera, excuse me.
I've been to one. It was great.
Quinceañera. I'm gonna start speaking Greek now. You might be invited to this, or you might be invited to the cookout, or you might be invited to like, a baptism. And these little rituals are like kind of check-ins, like I go to church every Sunday. That's a check-in. That's a check-in. That's a ritual for me, right? That's a ritual for my husband. So every week, that you have to show up for certain people. If there are men though that don't go to church, unless they're tailgating, 6 times a year, they don't have access to these sort of like pockets of interaction.
It's
and
so
then
true.
they're left alone.
Sports
Sports
is a thing.
is so limited unless they're going to the bar. Like I feel like that compounded with like work from home and COVID, it's like it has created this loneliness epidemic.
Yes. And
I feel like there needs to be, I think we need to encourage people to do more rituals.
Yeah, we need to do. I think we see that like increased loneliness in men especially. And I don't know if you can relate to this because we both have husbands from other countries. Yeah. Like my husband is like trying to figure out like, how do you guys all do it here? Because it's so natural in Colombia, the way that they develop male friendships.
Yeah.
And here, not so much, Does your husband make friends with like American guys? Or?
Only his coworkers.
Yeah.
The rest are from our church. The rest are Greeks. So and again, it goes back to the ritual. I see them every Sunday. You have this sort of like baseline interaction that you can build off of. But you're right. And I think, because if you think about women, we have a lot of rituals. A lot of us get our nails done, right? So we'll have a small interaction even with the person next to us, right? We get our hair done. I mean, tell me that your hairdresser's not your part-time therapist, right? We, we have our friendship circles. We'll go to brunch.
True.
Like we have all these little rituals built in being social animals.
It's like, it's a man's world, but socially it's not.
It's not.
That's why I love working with men, because I can make the littlest suggestion that can open up their world in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
I make almost all of my men take a dance class, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me more about this. This is brilliant, by the way.
It's just like, I just feel like it's not rocket science, but for some, like, I think in our culture, we don't encourage men to dance. And in dance, there's so much about like leading and following and like using moves and using touch instead of just relying on words. So like I used to live in Colombia, and the way that men approach women is not like their sarcasm and their wit and like a good pickup line. No, like my husband came to me and put out his hand.
Gentlemen,
but coming to the dance floor.
Do they curse in front of women?
Probably, yeah. And they make sexual jokes. But I'm just saying my husband came out, put out his hand, and invited me to dance. You know?
And that made you feel good.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, first of all, you're inviting me, but like, obviously you judge a guy with a pickup line.
Right.
You know, but like, I want to be asked to dance. I love to dance.
I love that you're sending your clients out for dancing.
Yeah, why not?
I think that's brilliant. I feel like I need to find something. You know what I like to ask my clients, because we talked about success before, like how do you measure success? I like to ask sometimes people, even, no matter who the person is, if you're in front of my desk, I'm going to ask, how many first dates have you been on the last 6 months?
Yes.
And sometimes you'll hear people say stuff like, well, I've been single for the last 15 years, which is fine. But now we have to manage our expectations of what success is going to be like for the next 3, 6, 9, whatever we're working with. Because if I get you on 6 dates, that is a success. You didn't go on any dates for the last 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like you being in a relationship, if you were unable to get in a relationship the last 15 years, it's, there's a chance you might not get in a relationship with me either.
That's right.
Like,
I tell people, like, I'm not a fairy godmother. This is a business. And that's why the definition of success that you're using makes so much sense. They're different when they walk out the door than when they walked in.
Yeah.
So it's just about having that barometer. But back to the dancing thing, I don't know if it's bad that I'm sharing this or not, but I have a matchmaking client who just signed with me, and I got him to take a dance class.
What kind of dance are you sending him to?
Salsa, bachata, that kind of stuff. He like took the dance class, and he hasn't needed me since. Then I'm like, oh, okay. All right, then. My job here is done.
Your job there is done. You know, that's happened to me a couple of times where a client would hire us, and then there is this thing that happens when someone hires a matchmaker. I feel like, okay, now it's in Maria's hands. Now it's in Michal's hands.
A release.
And then suddenly like their shoulders kind of like load out. And what ends up happening is now they're actually more approachable.
Yes.
So I remember, I think it was like 11 years ago, a gentleman hired me. And, instant posture change. And then a week later, like I've just started his contract. A week later, he's like, pause the contract. Yeah. I just met someone. And I'm like, okay, I'll wait. And then, 2 months go by and I'm like, I'm not giving him a refund because I did a lot of work. All matchmaking work happens like the first 10 days, right? Like so much of it is like that heavy lifting in the am I wrong here?
I love that part. That's like my favorite part.
But that's like the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I gotta get paid here, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, is he going to ask for his money back? And then anyway, so I ran into him and he's like, I can tell you're like wondering if I want my money back. And I'm like, do you? Because I'm not giving it to you. And he goes, no. If I didn't hire you, there's just no way I would have like met her.
Yeah.
But I was like, if this doesn't work out, Maria's going to handle it tomorrow. And I was just like, okay, great. That's the mentality that we're going to go forward for the rest of my career.
100%.
And that's what I've been doing. Like, you're going to change.
I think what you're speaking to is the fact that everything is energy and people notice a shift in your energy. So I have a coaching client. The transformation process is my favorite. I like to work with clients who are open to some level of transformation. And I have this client that used to be a matchmaking client like 4 years ago, and he would get rejected. And then he came to me with like just a transformation package that I do. And he told me that he went to a bar, he ran into a girl that like rejected him. They went on a date and she wasn't into it. And she was like, there's something different about you. I can't put my finger on it. She was like, but something. And I was like, success. That is success, because his energy shifted to being more confident. That's going to get him to love.
Yeah. No, like that's it. That's
it.
Also, I just had a holiday party a few weeks ago, and some of my clients actually attended, and it was so interesting watching them in person because I was able to get like a better read on them too, of like, okay, like now I'm understanding a few things that I didn't know about you before. Not because I had not met. It's not about meeting one-on-one. I was seeing them interact with other people, and I was like, okay, like I know what to do here now. And I think Michal, I might steal that dance idea. I think that's really brilliant.
Everybody should be dancing.
Everybody should be dancing. I love that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you are really well known for in the matchmaking industry is that you are like one of our sex experts.
Yes, a sexpert. Yeah.
A sexpert.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So I'm a trained sexologist. I took a class when I was younger in Human Sexuality when I was studying in college. And I was like, I don't need to learn anything here. And then I took the class. I was like, oh my God, I want to learn all of this stuff. And I quickly became a TA. And then I got my graduate degree. And so sexologists are people who are extremely fascinating, but use this lens to look at sexuality from a biopsychosocial perspective. And studying sex, I don't know exactly what runs in through your head when I say it, but it's not everything you imagine. It's an academic setting.
I imagine you're learning a lot about chemistry. Like what goes on in the brain.
That was a part of it. Yeah, like I took a few biology of sex courses, and that's a part of it.
Okay.
We learn about trauma. We learn about fetishes. We learn about, I don't know, like addictions. We learn about different lifestyles.
Like fetishes like its own course?
It wasn't its own course.
It's like a survey course.
It was just like it was a part of a lot of different courses. I mean, I took a sexuality and religion. We looked at like the history of like eugenics. We did a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So
sex is wrapped up in everything. So same as Jewish studies, it's really the history of humans. It's really looking at people.
So what do you think are the things that people need to know that they don't know because they don't have a sexology degree?
I mean, the first thing is that we're all sexual beings from the time that we're born, starting from 0 until death. And I think that in and of itself is really important for us to remember that like old people have sex when they're in senior citizen homes. And honestly, there is like a STI.
They have like a high rate.
An STI epidemic and like that. Yeah, I know, right?
High rate of like chlamydia and gonorrhea up in the senior citizen homes.
Yeah, because they're still sexual beings.
Yeah.
Right? And people just like may pretend it didn't exist and didn't talk to them about it. And that, children are also sexual beings. They're learning about their body, all of these different things. And so that means that sex education is integral throughout the lifetime.
Your perception of sex, right?
Oh, I actually brought you a gift. I brought a little sex ed book for kids. Forgot to tell you that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I'll wrap that under the Christmas tree.
You're welcome. Your kids will thank me.
Yeah.
Or your husband.
So
maybe George will.
tell me a little bit more about like, you mentioned like at what point do you ever talk about sex to your clients?
Yes.
So what do you talk to them about specifically?
Like I worked with a client years ago who had never had sex in her life. And, I introduced her to her, partner, and I helped her feel like comfortable and good about her first time being sexual with someone, and we just like sat down and had a heart to heart, and I asked her fears and we talked about lube.
Right.
The basics.
But
I don't know.
But then like I feel like one time you also told me that like you had a client who had never had sex and you introduced them to like a sex surrogate.
Yes, it's a surrogate partner therapy.
One more time?
Yeah, surrogate partner therapy.
And what is that?
So it's this model of therapy that uses a triad. So there's a therapist, and then there's someone called a surrogate partner who does hands-on work. So, and then there's the patient or the, so you have to imagine that, let's say you're 35 and you are sexually inexperienced, right? Or relationally inexperienced. You haven't practiced like touching and kissing and all of these things. Now you're doing it in a safe environment with talk therapy and touch therapy at the same time. It's really beautiful.
Wait, you're using a lot of words, but I don't know what the definitions of these words are.
Which word? Touch?
All of them, actually.
Okay.
So what is a talk therapist?
A therapist that you talk to.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Like a regular therapist that you're talking to.
And then the surrogate partner does the hands-on work, if you will. Is there another way that you want me to say it?
I don't know. I don't understand what that means. So is it like a sex worker?
You could, I don't know if they all identify as sex workers necessarily. That's an umbrella term.
Okay.
But surrogate partners
We're getting the
use
academic and clinical
I don't realize
labels today.
Yeah, I don't realize when I'm doing that, so it's good that you stop
No.
me.
So explain to me. So like, let's say, so first of all, at what age are we doing this? Like what age are you like, maybe we should consider getting a sex, no.
I feel like 21 plus. 21 plus.
21 plus.
Like if you're 21, like a 21-year-old guy who's never been, let's say hetero, right? He's never been with a woman. He's never touched a boob. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And like he doesn't have experience like that. that
and he wants to have that experience.
Yeah. Look, this has like been done since the history of time and probably across cultures, where like men will send their son to a brothel for their first, right?
A lot of men in Greece,
Do that.
because prostitution is legal there. It's
for sex work or whatever.
for sex work, excuse me. I'm sorry. Sex work is legal there, and in fact, it's like tax. They get like they get universal health care.
It's fucking genius, and I don't know why our country is so backwards about sex work.
I'm very pro sex work being legal, because you also see like when there is sex work, domestic violence goes down.
That's right. At the very least, it should be decriminalized.
Yeah.
And that was the first thing that I invited you to, by the way. It's a swap. I do it like yearly, where I organize a fundraiser on the National Day to End Violence Against Sex Workers. So when you have something criminalized, right, that's when a lot of violence happens. And like, just because you're a sex worker doesn't mean you can't get raped. That's still, rape or sexual assault. And so I believe
just because you're someone's wife doesn't mean you can't get raped.
That's right. That's right. And I believe that they're humans too. And I support a local organization in Philadelphia with like fundraising, and we give clothes and lipstick and money, and they give condoms to sex workers, give them a place to shower, and all of these things.
That's really great.
So
okay, so to go back to this 21-year-old man, he's never touched a boob, he's never kissed a woman.
Yeah. In another culture, people would send them to a sex worker, and here we have a model that's a part of a therapy, right?
Okay. So in this, is this trio working together at the same time?
Yes.
Okay, so there's like supervision.
That's right. Ethics, supervision. They go to sexology conferences. They have a system.
And then are they like talking him through like, okay, now touch her boob? Her boob.
So
her breast. I don't know. Or what kind of words are we using here?
Yeah.
Tit?
So I don't know if it's always being supervised, because I think like when the people that I send my clients to, they have like some sessions with the talk therapist and then some sessions with the surrogate partner, and so it's interchangeable, right? So it's not the three of them in a room necessarily.
This is really fascinating to me, and only because I have seen this increase in the last. I feel like I started seeing it a lot before the pandemic, like in 2019. 2018, 2018, I remember Louis and I having a conversation. Louis is my work brother. I used to call him my work husband, but I was like, we're more like brother and sister at this point. And he's our COO. He's a matchmaker. Anyway, and Louis and I were like, we're meeting men at work who, and it's still a minority, but they have very limited interactions with the opposite gender, and they're hetero. And a lot of that conclusion was, okay, they had helicopter parents who put them in all-boy schools. Then they got an engineering degree. So again, surrounded by a predominantly male classmate, environment. And then, and now they're working again in like computer science or some engineering, whatever, where again, the work environment is predominantly men. So it's like, when is this person supposed to meet women if they don't have the social tools to interact with the other gender? Like, they've never seen, if your helicopter parent kind of taught you like, don't worry about women right now, like don't do that, well then you've never learned how to be friends with women, let alone touch their boob, and
hold space for a woman.
And we've kind of struggled. When I remember the first time you mentioned it, which was only recently, you said this to me, I think it was like a month ago. I was like, what? This exists? Because this helps. This helps so much for people, not coming through us, but even on their own, learning about how like there are alternatives to being at the place you want to be, where you can feel comfortable with the opposite sex or even the same sex. Am I getting the conclusion wrong? Or
no? I'm with you 100%. I think in other cultures, they teach people to talk about sexuality, feel good about sexuality throughout the lifetime. And our culture is very sex negative, and we do a very poor job. And so that's why we need therapists like this.
I mean, you also see it like in the difference, like when I go to Europe, a lot of the billboards are naked people.
Yeah. Europe, across the board, overall, they're much better with sex education, sexuality education, and being sex positive.
Right. How do you bring this up to a client though? Like, hey, so I was thinking you should see like a surrogate. Like, how does that conversation happen?
So it's not easy. It's difficult to do because I need them to feel safe with me. because they come to me, they pay me a lot of money. And then when I start to understand a little bit about their history and their inexperience, if you will, then I have to have a come to Jesus moment. And I bring it up delicately and I ask them, like, can we have a really difficult conversation? And we have it. And sometimes they say yes and sometimes they say no. And I have to be okay with that. You know, I don't want to be too pushy about it.
Hold on, because I feel like you're skipping a few steps.
Okay.
You're not,
how do I bring it up?
So you're not just calling up like, hey, do you have a difficult conversation? Like at what point do you ask for the permission now to give feedback? Like at what is that? Are you already having a conversation about their dating feedback and then you bring it up?
You know, like as I think a good matchmaker will pick up on patterns. And so I look at patterns of like.
That's true, by the way.
Right?
That is so true.
So I look at, so a client that I had years ago, I saw his nerves just through the sky with every date that he went on, and women would feel it, and he would prepare scripts before the date.
Oh, he was nervous.
So nervous.
Right.
And very inexperienced.
And then he would monologue on dates?
No, he didn't even know how to talk to a woman, frankly. Okay. And I discovered that he had never kissed a girl.
Okay.
And then I went to a sexology conference and I ran into somebody who does surrogate partner therapy. And I was like, oh my God, like I believe in the universe. And I was like, this is what I need to do, you know?
Right.
And so then I called him. I just like connected the dots, right? I'm a super connector and I don't know how that all works, but it just like happened in my brain. I said it to him. So this is one of my favorite success stories, actually. So I called him and I said, I want to have a difficult conversation. Can you be open-minded with me just for a moment? Can we do this? And he was like, okay, what's she going to say? And he felt, a certain level of pause. And I said, I know you came to me for dates. Like, I know you came to me to find your wife. I understand that, but I think that there's a place we need to start from. And I told him about what surrogate partner therapy is. And I was like, you can Google it. You could look it up. But I know someone and I would love for you to have a consultation with her. And he was like, okay, I'll think about it. And then he came back to me. He said yes to the consultation.
After how long did he needed to think?
This is like 5 years ago. So I'm a little rusty.
I'm saying like, did he wait like 2 months or 2 days?
No. He was pretty fast with saying yeah. He understood.
Okay.
He understood.
So he had the resources in front of him.
Yeah. And I said, like, would you trust me in making this connection? Like, would you meet with her? I just met with her at a sexology conference. I think you should talk to her. And he said, okay, yes. And I made the introduction. He proceeded to engage in the therapy. And he told me as he was going along, like, what he was doing, what he had tried the first time.
What did he try?
I mean, everything, not like everything, but.
Well, what's everything?
Like.
What's everything, but not everything?
I mean, I like touching boobs and oral sex and practicing like massage and like.
Hold on. You can't just throw in oral sex there and then and then massage. Okay, hold on a second. So like he performed oral sex on the therapist?
I don't remember.
Or did she perform on him?
I believe that both things can happen in surrogate partner therapy, but I think that if I can remember right, I think he received oral sex. If I can remember correctly. Anyways.
This feels like a sex worker loophole.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
If the government is watching this.
Please don't get me in trouble.
Don't get anyone in trouble. And also don't ban this because we need it. Because your Surgeon General came out and said, men are dying of despair deaths and epidemic of loneliness. And here's a solution. So if you're going to make out that mandate, here's a policy decision. Decriminalize sex work.
That's right. And orgasms fix everything.
You're also a big proponent of masturbating before the date.
Oh, wait, but can I go back to the guy for a second? So before I came to the conference to talk about sex at the Matchmaker Alliance.
So Michal came to the Matchmakers Alliance conference in November in Cancun and she spoke about sexuality.
Yeah. Which what was crazy is that you guys told me in 12 years of conferences, right?
They've never been talked about.
Okay.
Well, who in the room? I don't, I think if
you feel pretty comfortable a little bit.
I feel comfortable talking about, I could, but at this, I can't. Like, I know what my core strengths are when first of all, it's my conference. I don't want to always speak, right? I like to kind of like I know this is like
so
I know well
but you're good at speaking.
I am. Thank you. And you've seen me at conferences when I'm not speaking, and you've seen me at conferences when I do speak, and like I am sometimes a behind the scenes person. I am very much a behind the scenes person, and I think it doesn't matter. What matters here is that I saw your proposal. So we have a panel picker. So if you want to speak at a matchmakers conference, you have to submit your idea, and then the leadership team picks what we think that the attendees of a Matchmakers Alliance conference, which is predominantly matchmakers and dating coaches, will benefit from. And the way, like, I mean, I remember when Lori Burzak, she's an incredible matchmaker in North Carolina, and I like saw your proposal. We're both like, yes, like, because it was just like, this has never happened, because no one's ever promoted. Like, no one's ever. We've had like talks about matchmaking with like, you know, matchmakers who represent the gay population or the lesbian population, or just in general, you know, the LGBTQ, and that's fine. I'm sure next year we're gonna have a really good speech or panel about that, but like, that's not what you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
And I think, why don't you tell the listeners what you were talking about?
I think like I was talking about, let's talk about it. You know, like let's talk about sex, and let's not be heteronormative.
Yeah.
Let's think about how to be inclusive. Let's bring ourselves to this century, and let's think about the fact that more and more people are, you know, not living in a binary, right? There's sexual fluidity, there's gender fluidity, and I think our industry can try to catch up to it in order to recognize that like the future is coming, right? They might be 21 now or 25, but like 10 years from now, that's going to be our clientele. And so if we keep on...
and Gen Z is like way more fluid and accepting than anything. I mean, we just have our first Gen Z client, and it's like, it's really shocking how different they are.
We could learn so much from them.
They're so
we could learn so much from them.
And like, they are, you know, many of them identify as heterosexual, but they like to also see the space for others.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting. It's really curious.
Yeah. So I think that's what I just want to bring this. I want to bring sexuality out of the closet, because I have a really hard time with saying like, oh, you should wait until the third date to have sex or whatever. But what I do believe in my heart of hearts is that you should be able to talk about sex before you have sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
To have a good, healthy sexual relationship with someone in any capacity, being able to talk about it is extremely valuable.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do because it wasn't modeled to us by our parents, children of immigrants or whatever. We're both children of immigrants. But if we start talking about it as matchmakers, if we start having appropriate sexuality education, then we're going to have healthier, actualized sexual adults who have agency over their sexuality.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyways, to finish the story about the client, I was preparing that presentation for the conference, and I was like thinking about maybe I should share the story about him. And I reached out and I was like, hey, I haven't talked to you in 5 years. Like, what's going on? And he was like, no big deal, just getting ready for the wedding. And I was like, wedding?
He got married?
He's engaged right now.
Oh my goodness.
And he sent me a picture, and I was like, this is my favorite success story of all time.
Michal, you did it. That's awesome. That is amazing.
I'll show you a picture later, because we're keeping it.
Yeah. Are you ready to answer some dating and relationship questions?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. Welcome to the Ask a Matchmaker hotline. How can we help you?
Hi, Maria. I'm Alex, one of your Agape Intensive graduates. And I had shown you the other day in our really cool group chat for intensive grads that I did a little dating year recap, sort of like a Spotify Wrapped, but for my dating
it was
for
like
2023.
an Excel sheet, right?
Yeah, exactly. So thought I would call in and chat about it with you.
Call in and tell us all about it. Like, you're called in. Yes,
Okay.
Thank you. Tell us all about this.
Okay, so I took your course. It's coming up on 2 years now, almost. It will be in January. That helped me get a lot of clarity about what I was looking for, what I really valued. And I think at the end of last year, I was feeling a little bit discouraged with dating, had been really trying to date intentionally. I was even trying a matchmaking service and was going to fire up the dating apps again in the new year. And I saw some dating influencers and just other regular people on social media doing dating recaps of their year. And I just wondered what my numbers and my data would look like, and had wished that I was tracking it, because typically I would go on dates, I would completely forget about them, and then just feel like, I was still single, didn't really have much to show for it. So I thought, okay, in 2023, gonna make a spreadsheet. Maybe I'll learn something. If nothing else, I'll be able to kind of see my effort by the numbers and reflect.
So will you be able to show us the spreadsheet so that you can walk us through it, what we're looking at while you're speaking right now?
Yeah, can I screen share and you'll be able to see it?
Well, no, you just pretend we're looking at it right now, because I'll have the producer put up the image and then you can walk us through what we're seeing.
Okay. Tell me when to
Start.
do that.
Yeah.
So I will say you won't be able to see. I created a recap, but what I had tracked was their name, the number of dates we went on, how we met, what we did on the date, just general things I liked about them, any general dislikes or flags. I rated their physical attraction on a scale from 1 to 5. Was there a kiss? Did I laugh? Did they pay? And then overall thoughts. And those were just, I don't even know.
How many second dates did you go on?
I went on 2 to 3 dates with 5 people, and then 4+ dates with one person who's now my boyfriend.
Ooh. Do you think having this Excel, this sheet, you looking at the data, do you think it helped you, first of all, enjoy dating?
Yeah, I think so, because I don't think I learned anything absolutely groundbreaking here that just blew my mind, because I've done a lot of the work on myself already and taken your course and all that. So I felt like I had clarity in terms of what I wanted, and that the qualities were consistent with what I thought that I wanted. But it was nice and encouraging to have a record that showed me that I was putting in effort. I was trying. So even if it wasn't working out, these people just simply weren't a match and I should keep going, versus in the past, I think I might have thought I needed to fix myself or.
Do you know what I like about this? First of all, she was judging if she laughed, right? And like also like what the overall sentiment of the date was, which I think is pretty critical. Like people will not laugh, but they're so set on like, but he said he's going to ask me out again. Why didn't he ask me on a second date? And I'm like, well, do you want to go on a second date? Because you didn't laugh on this date, right? And I think laughing is pretty important. No?
That's important, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And then I think the second thing I love about what she did here, which is way more neurotic than I thought I was. I never did this, but I think this is like genius, is that it kept her accountable. Because sometimes I hear from people saying like, I haven't been on any dates this year. And I'm like, well, whose fault is that? Like, I don't, take out this Excel and figure out, okay, well, where am I not getting dates from?
I feel like Alex, are you okay with being challenged?
Sure.
I think that it's really easy for people to go on dates and be like, here's what I liked and here's what I didn't like. And I think I want to challenge people more the way that Logan Ury does, to date like a scientist, which is what I like about your Excel sheet, but also to really focus on how someone made you feel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like what you learned from it, because it's so easy to judge someone up and down, and like something that a good matchmaker will do is like really force people to say, like, talk about 3 things that you liked about the person.
Do you ask this after dates?
I do.
Oh my God, me too. My feedback form is like, tell me 2 things you liked about them on the date.
Force them.
Yeah, because they'll be like, I didn't like this date at all. Really? You couldn't find 2 things?
Yeah.
I've never had a date feedback form not have, say, 2, 1. And by the way, sometimes those 2 things will be so wonderful that I'll call my client and be like, if you don't go on a second date with them, I might murder you. Because you just said that this person. I might murder a lot of people. Yeah, like you just said that this person connected with you on the deepest level you ever connected, and you don't want to see them again. Are you insane?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I was able to say something that I liked about absolutely everyone.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. So,
yeah.
And great that you forced yourself into that. And I think like when it comes to dating,
shift.
like all of these bad dates, good dates, whatever, like it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Like what are you learning from this experience? Like that's where I want to challenge people to go a little bit deeper with a reflection on a date. Like what did you want the person to feel or see about you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I like that. This is a really great. Thank you so much for sharing.
Good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dating like a scientist.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to our next question. Welcome to the Ask a Matchmaker hotline. How can we help you?
Hi, thank you for having me on. I wanted to ask a question of you both today. Do you think it's possible for somebody who's currently in a friends with benefits situation to ever turn that into a more serious relationship if both parties are interested in moving from friends with benefits to something more serious?
Wait, hold up. I need some background because that's a really great question. You have a friends with benefits situation with a guy that you were friends with and you had sex with. You want to be in a relationship with him. He has told you he wants to be in a relationship with you?
We have both separately come to the conclusion when we first met, neither of us were interested in having a more serious relationship. But as time has progressed, I'm in a place in my life where I feel like I'm ready for moving forward, something hopefully leading to marriage. He has also separately expressed the same feelings to me. So we haven't quite gotten to the place where we've decided if that's together or not, but I wanted to get some feedback if you thought that was possible or if it could be a good idea.
Did somebody catch feelings? Who's catching feelings?
I think both of us.
Wait, I need to confirm this one more time, okay? He has told you that he would like to get married and have kids one day. Has he expressed that he likes you? Not likes fucking you. Has he said, I think I want to explore dating you?
He hasn't outright said that, and I want to continue having the conversation with him to find out, but I also, if it won't be worth it, don't think that it's a conversation we should have unless you feel otherwise.
I'm sensing some fear.
Yeah.
What are you afraid of?
I don't want to be the person that likes him more than he likes me and then have to get hurt in the whole situation.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Okay.
There's a lot of risk.
Tell me more about the friends part here. Like, were you actually friends before this, or were you guys just like hook up? You guys went on a first date and just hooked up.
It started out meeting on a dating app, so it was more hooking up, but it's been a year now that we've been seeing each other. So as the physical aspects have progressed, and we've learned more about each other and gotten more comfortable with each other, we obviously have learned more about each other to become more of friends as well.
Okay. I have a challenge for her to just rip off the Band-Aid, because I don't want her getting hurt in the new year. And you can tell me if you disagree with this challenge, but I kind of want her to text them right now. Are you celebrating Christmas? Did you celebrate Christmas? Are you celebrating Christmas?
Am.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're recording this before Christmas, but I know when you're listening to this is post-Christmas, so you're going to have to give us an update. But I kind of want you to text them right now and ask them like, hey, are we exchanging Christmas gifts this year? And then if he says yes, then you have to ask him, are we exchanging Christmas gifts because you're my boyfriend? Or because you want to be, let me do that one more time. Then if he says yes to that question, that like we're exchanging gifts, then you're going to reply to that question, are we exchanging gifts because you are considering being my boyfriend?
I
know that's really aggressive how I'm saying it.
No, but like Maria's
year.
right. Maria's right. Like Maria is like channeling that like boss bitch CEO energy. And I feel like you're coming to this with like, you're afraid of you feeling more than him. And
but it's
like,
been a year.
Yeah, but like Maria's asking you to like step a little bit into your power. He needs to see that. And the risk is that he's going to shrink away and back off. And you need to be okay with that. Because you're already in like a danger zone, I would say.
He's distracting you from meeting your person.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to do that for you in the new year. I want you to, if he's either going to be your boyfriend or for Christmas, or he's not.
Yeah.
And that's it. These are the options.
Yeah. How do you want him to show up? Because you better demand that he shows up in the way that you want him to. And if he's not capable of that,
goodbye.
Then he's not capable.
You're going to block him. You can't have sex with him again.
And you need to be okay with that. You need to look at him and see what he's capable of and what he isn't capable of.
Why isn't he dating you already?
Yeah.
Why didn't he girlfriend you already?
I would have to say, just because we came into the relationship both very much against, or at least I told him at the time I was very much against having a more serious relationship. So that's how we've always approached our time together. And it wasn't until very recently where I told him I was interested in potentially expanding and that I was ready for next steps.
Have you had sex since you had that conversation?
No.
When was this conversation? How long ago?
It was a week ago. Well, couple days, Sunday.
That's new.
It's new.
A few days ago.
I think you need clarity now. Like you're going to have a really hard it probably won't even be that hard. It's only hard because you're scared of getting hurt. But I'd rather you get hurt for 48 hours and pick yourself up during the holiday or have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
These are the two things,
Yeah.
right? So I think in the next 24 hours, you need to channel Maria and Michal. Am I wrong here?
Yeah.
Like,
I think, yeah. She needs to work
it's been a year.
Yeah.
It's been a year. I don't want to have this conversation with her 3 months from now. Be like, is he my Valentine?
Yeah.
No.
People ask you this all the time. You are a
Holy
magnet
crap.
to this because a lot of women
Well, the
get
channel
stuck
is
in
open.
this.
The
yeah.
channel is open. Yeah, women get stuck in these
You're not,
situationships,
you're
and
not
it's not
alone.
their fault.
You're not alone in this.
Yeah.
But the power is in your hands.
You get to control the
It's
narrative here.
It's not in his hands. The
No.
power is in your hands. And until you realize that, you're not going to be able to make the shift that you're asking to make.
You're the cherry here.
Mhm.
Like, you're the cherry. So he's either the cake or he's not, but you're the cherry. And that's
How far are you going to go with that?
that's it. No, that's the end of that. That's the end of that metaphor.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
No,
Yeah.
I
I mean,
appreciate you. This is a really good question, by the way. I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of
Awesome.
people have that same question right now. And I
You're not
think
the
a
only
lot of
one.
people need to have some really difficult conversations because it's okay. It's okay to have your heart broken before New Year's. It is perfectly fine. And it is okay to start the new year fresh, single, or with your new boyfriend.
I think I don't think that being single is so bad. I think what's worse is being in a place where someone doesn't make you feel like confident or yourself or in your power. You
Yeah.
know, I'd rather you be alone, party of one, and happy than be in a relationship where you don't know where you stand.
Yeah. Confusion and anxiety, by the way, is such a drug. The state that she's currently in,
Yeah.
it's addictive.
Yeah.
It is addictive.
That's something to
feel,
look at.
You know who said this? Gatyi. Is that how you pronounce his name? Gatyi. You can be addicted to a certain kind of
Gautier. Sadness.
certain kind of sadness, right? Like
Ah,
you
that
can
song is
be
so
addicted
brilliant.
to a certain
Yeah,
kind of.
the
That's what that
sadness.
means.
It's that up and down.
Yeah.
You know, that this is where you have to look at yourself. You know, but there's some work to do on yourself.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
Let's take our last question. Welcome to the Ask a Matchmaker hotline. How can we help you?
Hi, ladies. Thank you for having me. I just want to thank you for your time. I'd like to go into a situation. I went on vacation overseas. I'm in the States, and I met someone. We went on a couple dates, and we've been talking ever since. It's going on 3 months of like messaging, and I'm going back overseas, spending some time
Where are
out
we
there,
going?
and I'm going to Milan, Italy. And this is only my second time even like going overseas, but and honestly, part of it is just to see him, but part of it is to just again experience being out internationally and just the livelihood that you get from being in a different culture and around different people and stuff like that. It's just so exciting.
Yeah.
So I met him, we hit it off. We've been hitting it off. I'm going to be seeing him again. And I think like, a concern of mine is that I think like I want to make it work into a relationship, or is that possible? If I have no desire to at least live there in the next couple of years. I mean, it'd be a dramatic pay cut.
It's not going to work. It's not gonna
Really.
work. Let me just get some background information from you really quick.
Yeah, your accent. Where's your accent
Yeah, where are you from?
Yeah, Tennessee.
Okay. And how old are you?
I am 35.
And you're
And
close to your family. Like you want to live near your family. You want to take care of your family.
No, that's not really.
Okay.
Okay.
How old is our ragazzo? How old is our Italian brother over here, little boy?
Yeah, he is 33.
He's 33. Okay, he's 2 years younger. And is he picking you up from the airport, or are you just happening to be going to Milan and maybe you'll meet up?
So he's not picking me up from the airport.
not gonna work.
I am going there a few days ahead of time, and then we're going to be spending New Year's Eve together.
You guys have had sex?
No.
Oh.
Did you have sexy time?
Has he seen you naked?
Yeah. No, he has not.
So how would this work? Because like there's only a couple ways this could work, right? Either you can afford to go to Italy once a month for the next 2 years and work from there for 10 days a month.
Right.
Or you can fiance visa him and marry him in 3 months. So,
I did that.
Right.
Yeah, you did that.
Yeah.
I think this is your question is so perfect because I want Michal to tell us about how she imported a man.
It's a lot of work. Look,
Yeah, you go.
I feel like you're lying to yourself a little bit to think that this trip to Milan isn't to like see him.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to like not make him into, but it's the reason,
It's
isn't
so
it?
deeply romantic.
Oh
I can't
yeah, for
stand
sure.
it.
I think
Uh-huh.
I definitely admitted that. Like that is the reason. But I'm also
make him
taking the
pick you
time to do
up.
other things.
He needs to pick you up.
He's to pick you up. He lives in a romance culture. He knows what has to be
What's
done.
the problem? He has a scooter? He's got a Vespa?
Probably.
Cars are really expensive. Cars are really expensive.
No.
in Europe.
He lives with his parents.
Well, all of them live with their parents. So
Yeah.
what? Does he live with his parents?
He's not currently. He has a flatmate, but not living with his parents. Is that how you refer? Yeah.
He's not British.
Roommate.
But okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you call them in Spain? Your roommate.
Yeah.
You call them flatmate?
Yeah, we learned English.
I see.
Oh, you're from Spain?
She's Spaniard.
Okay, cool. Look, all I could tell you is that like you're having a beautiful love affair. I'm here for it. I love love affairs.
Lean into the love affair.
Lean in, enjoy,
Make you feel like a woman.
have some passion,
Have you seen his penis?
I have.
okay, enjoy it for what it's worth. But when it comes to like really dating someone and there's an ocean in between you, that's when you got to put like your big girl pants on. He has to put his big boy pants on. You have to have some really difficult conversations quickly about like kids and what happens when our parents are elderly and like about religion and what happens if this happens and what would it be like if we were together and this person is unemployed for 6 months. These are really difficult questions to have.
But you got to lay them all out. And you know who could help you is like believe it or not, a lot of spiritual leaders they have these questions ready to go where you can Google it. What are the hardest conversations I could have if I want to get married in 3 months? And you're going to spend a weekend with a few bottles of wine.
Yeah, and do it.
And just do it.
Yeah, before you have sex.
But no sex.
Well, or they could do it after they have. But yeah, you could get dreamy and
do
lovey-dovey about
half of the stuff first. Like, get rid of like what happens when our parents are really elderly and like, do we want to have kids in religion? Like, get those out of the way, then have sex, and then start talking about money.
Yeah, money. Talk about money.
Talk about money for like 18 hours.
Right. See, so that's the
Exhausting.
It is, because that's what you're going to ultimately divorce on. So
yeah. There's so much sacrifice.
What's his job?
Yeah, what's his job? Can he work from anywhere?
He's in like the finance. He's in finance.
So he can talk money for 18 hours.
Wait, so could he like work in Tennessee?
No. Does he or do I?
Could he work in Tennessee?
Oh, see that, and that is, I think, so
because
part of me is finance,
like, but if that means he can only work in Chicago or New York City,
That's
then
right.
it doesn't matter. Like, it's not going to work unless you're both willing to move to like Chicago, New York, financial hubs. And I don't even know what you do.
And so did you say that you haven't traveled a lot? Did you say that you haven't
Correct.
seen? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Wait, how tall are you?
I'm 5'5".
Oh, okay. Because if she was like,
girl, this is a part of traveling.
Hold on a second. If she was over 5'10", I'd be like, get your ass to Germany tomorrow. Because let me tell you, those men,
tall.
They not only are they tall, they're like like I feel like I'm a celebrity every time I go to Germany. Like, I'll be in the Frankfurt airport and I'm like, this is what Beyonce feels like. I'm sure of it. Like, they're chasing me.
I don't know. You haven't had a lot of experience traveling, and like, girl, I've done a lot. Like, I did 6 months backpacking through South America.
Tell her about how you imported your man.
Yeah, so I did backpacking all through South America, and like, I watched all the travelers do it. They fall in love everywhere they go. You have to understand that this is a part of the experience of traveling. You're in this new place. You're very excited. This is where two souls collide in a beautiful way because you're exhilarated, and then like. And then it's his city, and you're a piece of fresh meat, and you're all excited.
Americana.
Like, it's just exactly.
Like, that's hot. Oh, and also from Tennessee.
Yeah, and you're from Tennessee, and your
Holy
accent
shit.
is cute. I don't know how cute you look because I can't see you, but like you sound cute. You know,
like you're
all
literally
of these things
fulfilling.
are mixing together for the romance.
Like when
you know?
European men think of like American women, we don't look like that.
Yeah,
they're thinking of Canadians. Pamela Anderson.
Probably. Yeah. So you have to understand that this is like a recipe for a lot of desire and romance, and you fell into that and like enjoy it, but it's not necessarily a recipe for a long-term relationship, right?
Yeah. Sometimes
And
it can
that's
just be
okay.
fun. Sometimes it's I traveled to get romanced and I'm going to come back.
I know. Like, why don't, like, next trip,
You
why
know
don't
what
you
you
go to
could
like
do,
Argentina
though?
and get some romance there? Like, why don't you see what they're all like?
Yeah. But also, I would also look now that you've gotten an idea of like if you got an idea of like foreign. And they're not circumcised
And foreskin.
there.
You've got a taste of the foreskin.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to say that.
She got a taste of the foreskin. I am pro foreskin.
Yeah, and a sex positive,
and a
hopefully,
sex positive culture. Yes. So now that you got that, why don't you head over to University of Memphis or University of Nashville and like park your butt out and learn who all the postdocs are, which are the foreign professors. Like I'm telling you, they're all there.
Oh my God, Maria, great advice.
Go literally to the engineering department of the University of Memphis. Okay, they're all Russian, Indian, Greek.
Yeah, take a vacation at
Israeli,
home and try to like date a man at home, and then see what's. Then you don't have to have all these ocean in between you conversations.
Yeah, you can have that like
experience.
You can have that like I remember my husband, he used to live with this French woman, and she was like a caricature of a French woman. Like she would literally take a loaf of bread and like butter. And like this was her dinner with a bottle of wine. I'm like, you could, and you know what? She was at Harvard Medical School, I think, with all the other expats, like all the other foreigners.
Is your husband a Harvard boy?
Huh?
Is he a Harvard boy?
He didn't study there. He's University of Florida.
Okay.
He's a Gator.
But then what's he doing in Boston?
He was teaching.
Oh, okay.
Working there and whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, but what I'm trying to say to our caller is that like there is a lot of foreign foreskin.
Oh my God. To be had,
in Tennessee,
to be enjoyed.
You just have to figure out where it is. They're all in the engineering department.
Yeah, you can have romance anywhere. You know, you just really get caught up in the vacation one, and it can become a husband. It can become a
fun.
husband.
You're on the adrenaline, but yeah, you can like.
But it comes with a lot of complications,
and it's money. It's expensive to do long distance. It's expensive to do long distance from like Tennessee, North Carolina. Not put Atlantic Ocean in between.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like the money aspect is not what's deterring me. I make a significant income. I'm a high earner. So, I mean, but I'm also someone who thinks that she can always make it work. So I think like, okay, I can see him definitely on 100% on a quarterly basis. I can actually like live in Italy and still work maybe like for 3 months.
Do you want to have children?
Children?
Do you want to have children?
Yes.
Do you want your parents to be a part of their lives?
See,
does he want his parents to be a part of their lives?
That's the thing about it is like I would definitely want him to live in the States since I'm going to be the high earner. And then I wouldn't mind living overseas like after we've saved up a lot of money kind of thing.
Yeah.
You want to retire there. I think a lot of people want to retire there.
You also don't know what it's like to fly with a baby on a flight like that and make them go through a time change.
That's
like you're flying alone to see him. Imagine
baby
what it's
melatonin,
like to
dude.
fly with a baby. Give me your advice.
Baby melatonin.
But girl, what do you think it would be like to bring him over to the US and he's not able to work and he can't find a job? How do you think he would show up?
Yeah, I feel like that would probably and the lifestyle difference of Tennessee.
And
imagine he had no friends.
Imagine being in a place like Milan and coming here and it's like
medicine. He has to pay to go to a doctor all of a sudden.
The idea that all of our urban planning is centered around parking.
Yeah.
And not like a piazza.
Yeah.
Like that's a really big lifestyle shift. Like my husband talks about how he went from living in Crete to living in Gainesville.
Yeah.
And he was his culture
shock. Do you think you can carry a man through that, you yourself, do you think you can carry a man through that level of shift? Because like my parents did double immigration. Like you have to understand what it's like to go through an immigration to make someone go through an immigration. And if you don't know
Right.
what that's like, you better start learning and seeing if you're prepared to take a man
Because you're
through
going to be
that.
carrying that. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
forget the visa, forget the paperwork, which is a lot.
It's
forget
carrying
that,
a man's confidence
and ripping them from their family
Yeah.
and friends.
I mean, he might not be able to even perform sexually because of incompetence, or he might even
back to
start
the
controlling.
foreskin.
I know, but even like the controlling aspect, like, oh, you're gonna go out with your friends. Oh, I'm gonna be alone again. Like there
Yeah.
is like all this like management when someone like moves for you.
Absolutely.
And if they don't have like the social understanding of the environment, it's really hard to do that.
That's right.
This is a really good question, and I'm
It
really
was.
happy you called in. So thank you so much.
Yes. Did
Thank
we
you,
answer
lady.
it? Did we
Oh.
help you?
Okay.
Yes. It's
Awesome.
a vacation fling, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Go have fun on New Year's.
Enjoy
though.
it. Have
Enjoy
so many
it.
orgasms.
Yeah, we wish you the best. We actually have one more question.
We have one more?
We have
Okay.
one more. Okay. All right, ready? Welcome to the Ask a Matchmaker hotline. How can we help you?
Hi, Maria and Michal. I have a question. I think it's actually kind of perfect for today's episode because I am kind of going and experiencing singlehood again after being in a 2.5-year relationship. And I have also left my church and religion within the past 4 years. So I am experiencing for the first time in a while, probably ever, a chance to be single and kind of go through a hoe phase while also trying to reconcile some of the past church trauma that has been in my body for a long time. I was in a monogamous relationship, so everything was fine and clean and all good there. But now as I kind of enter this new year, I'm trying to figure out what are some like best practical steps for entering that phase of my life without while trying to navigate some of the purity culture vibes that are still in my body.
Okay. Can I ask something really direct? You can answer or not,
Yes.
but do you masturbate?
Yes.
Okay. Such a good step. Good. Yeah, I think that like, I don't know, maybe we're talking about like a masturbation phase or a hoe phase. I don't know. Like, is that what you're getting at? Like, what should I be doing as a person like new to dating while separating from all the things that I've been taught about relationships and sexuality and like detaching
Yes.
myself? Okay. Wow. I don't know. The first thing that came to my head is like proceed with caution and proceed with excitement too. Like what a beautiful, fun adventure that a lot of people don't have a chance to have. And you get that chance. This is all happening for you. You get to learn so much about yourself and about others. How exciting.
That is exciting. And that's a really compassionate answer to give, because that's not only is your answer compassionate, you have to learn to be compassionate to yourself. And like, there is this process of rewiring and separating sex from patriarchy, I guess. I don't know what the right word is here or the noun, but it's like, there is this detachment where like
from
sex,
God or from what was
see,
prescribed?
I don't
know.
think it is a God thing. Like I always get so weirded out by this because like,
Or maybe from sin or
from-
like that
yes,
type of
from
model that
sin.
you were
yeah,
taught.
like sex is sin. Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't think sex is sinful. I think sex can be a really beautiful thing to do with someone you love,
Okay.
someone you hate, someone you like. Like you could do
Yes.
sex with a lot of different kind of people.
Can you tell me what you were taught about sex?
Just your classic standard of like, it is sinful. You can only be with one person and that person has to be your husband. It has to be, with only in the confines of marriage. And I don't believe those things anymore. So
What do you
I'm
believe?
What do you believe? Yeah.
Well, I do believe that, I still believe that there is a God. I still believe in that aspect of faith. I do have like some spiritual practices that connect to Christianity, but I no longer am active in any sort of church. But I think where I'm coming from is, when I was with my last partner, because we both were set on being monogamous and also had our own issues with the church, it was kind of easier for us to connect on that way. Whereas now I'm like, okay, I have an opportunity to do something a little bit more different with myself and maybe not find people who have those same experiences as I do.
I kind of want to send her to Italy with
I
that
was gonna
woman.
tell her to
shut
travel.
up. Oh my God.
Go travel.
Yeah. You
Have
need to like
fun.
go travel. Come to Greece
Enjoy.
with me next year.
Enjoy.
Like I'm being serious because I have had
Enjoy.
women, we've had women join these things where Like they've come to escapes where they are detaching from this. And I think what really helps is being surrounded by different perspectives.
Yeah.
And also like the narrative that you were fed, learning where it comes from.
That's right.
Like one of my favorite books is called The Once and Future Sex. I forget the author's name right now, but I'm obsessed with her. She's an incredible historian. But it teaches you about how this sort of framework, where it comes from, right? That framework that you were taught, it didn't just come out of thin air.
Yeah.
It was written down by people that had other motivations, right? They didn't want, for instance, the priests, the leadership to get married and have offspring, because then the land rights would be given away and they wanted to build up, the church. Like organized religion has its own politics, right? So what I would tell you is, travel, get yourself, it doesn't have to be internationally, it could be domestic, but traveling and getting yourself like flirting with strangers.
Reading would be really good for you. Read about sexuality.
And then following people like me, Michal, even Celeste, Dr. Celeste Holbrook, she's been the sex therapist that's come on our podcast a few times.
Sex with Emily.
Yeah, Sex with Emily. Like having these different people,
just learn.
who can help you understand like, I think there's ways to familiarize with like sex positiveness.
Absolutely. So, and I think also just one key piece, and I don't know if we're wrapping up soon.
Yeah, we have to wrap.
Just really quick, I do think there's going to need to be a piece of you working on a little bit of letting go and a little bit of forgiveness and understanding what you've been taught and accepting it, thanking them for what you got so that you can start anew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you again
so
for your question. Michal, where can people find you?
Michal Matches. That's me on Instagram.
And you also wanted to promote an organization that you really love.
Yes. And finally, I really love Project Safe. It's an all-volunteer organization in Philadelphia that supports street-based sex workers. And you can become a sustaining donor. And you can contact me to find the info, but it's safephila.org.
I'm going to include that link in the show notes
thank
too.
you.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining me on the Ask a Matchmaker podcast. I got to get you to Amtrak
please.
to take you down to Philly so you don't miss your train. And thank you for listening to the Ask a Matchmaker podcast. If you're on the YouTube channel, and I hope you are, comment, like, subscribe, give the algorithm gods what they need. And I wish you a fantastic New Year's Eve and a happy New Year. And I will see you next year.
Beautiful.
Be lovable, but more importantly, be likable.